London, the year 1483. The streets are restless. The crown of England is unstable, and behind the thick stone walls of the Tower of London, two young boys wait for a future that will never come. They are Edward V, just 12 years old, and his younger brother Richard, only 9. Sons of King Edward IV, heirs to the throne of England, and victims of one of the darkest and most haunting mysteries in English history. When King Edward IV died suddenly, the crown passed to his son, young Edward. But he was only a child, too young to rule on his own. His uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, was named protector of the realm, meant to guard the throne until the boy came of age. At first, everything seemed proper. The young king and his brother were placed in the Tower of London, a tradition before coronation. But soon, whispers began to spread. Instead of preparing for Edward's coronation, Richard declared that his brother's marriage, the boy's parents, had been invalid. He claimed the children were illegitimate and therefore unfit to rule. Within weeks, Richard seized the crown for himself, becoming Richard III. And what of the boys? After the summer of 1483, they were never seen in public again. But here's the chilling question. What really happened to them inside the tower? Some say they were murdered on Richard's direct orders. Two small children, smothered in their sleep by guards loyal to the new king. Others say they were drowned, their bodies buried in secret beneath the tower's stone floors. But there are alternative theories too, that the boys were quietly moved away, hidden for their protection, perhaps even spirited across the sea to Flanders or France. If that were true, why did they never return to claim their birthright? And this brings us to our first rehook. What if England's royal bloodline, and even the crown itself, was built on a crime that was covered up for centuries? The mystery deepened in 1674. During renovations in the Tower of London, workers discovered a wooden chest buried beneath a staircase. Inside were two small skeletons. The bones were said to belong to children, roughly the ages of the missing princes. King Charles II ordered them to be buried in Westminster Abbey. But here's the problem. No scientific analysis was possible at the time. And when the remains were later re-examined in the 20th century, forensic experts concluded only that the bones could be the princes. But they could just as easily belong to others. No certainty, no closure. Yet Richard III was not the only suspect. Another contender emerges. Henry Tudor, who became King Henry VII after defeating Richard at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485. If the princes were alive when Henry claimed the throne, their existence alone would have been a threat to his rule. Did Henry have them killed to secure his dynasty? The truth is lost, buried beneath layers of propaganda, accusations, and silence. Richard III has enemies painted him as a murderous villain. Shakespeare himself immortalized him as a hunchback tyrant who killed his enemies for power. Was that history, or just political theater? This is where the second reaper pulls us back in. Is Richard III truly guilty, or has history framed him as monster that justified his downfall? Even today, historians, writers, and forensic scientists continue to debate. In 2012, the remains of Richard III himself were discovered in a parking lot in Leicester, and DNA confirmed his identity. His bones revealed a man who suffered from scoliosis, but no proof of the evil Shakespeare described. Yet the shadow of the missing princess still hangs over his legacy. Was he a usurper and child murderer, or an unjustly maligned king? And here's the third reproof. Imagine if the princess had survived in the way it seems. Would the Tudor dynasty, Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, the golden age of England, ever have come to power? Or would history itself be unrecognizable? The princes in the Tower remain one of the greatest mysteries of England. Were they victims of ambition, murdered for a crown they never wore? Were they silenced by Richard, erased by Henry, or secretly saved only to vanish into obscurity? The truth has been buried for over 5 centuries, and perhaps it always will be. But one thing is certain. Behind the stone walls of the Tower of London, history hides its darkest secrets, and two innocent boys still haunt the story of England's monarchy. So, what do you believe? Were the princes murdered in cold blood, or is their disappearance part of a cover-up that changed the course of English history forever?